What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Green Lantern War Journal issue number 2. This comic has been following the one and only John Stewart. Now, we have learned that John Stewart, he has become essentially the avatar of the Green Lanterns, if you will. He is just stupid powerful at this point, going as far as touching the source himself. But on Earth Zero, the John Stewart Green Lantern, he didn't choose to continue on his path. He chose to return home, to return to his mother. The United Planets, they quarantined all of Earth Zero off. They tried to take the Green Lantern rings. They quickly learned that John Stewart doesn't have a Green Lantern ring, but there is a much bigger threat on the horizon. The one known as the Radiant Dead, the Revenant Queen. They have made their arrival in this universe. They have come to hunt down John Stewart. So, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up at the Amazon rainforest. We have the Green Lantern that John Stewart beat the living crap out of, part of the new United Planets Green Lantern Corps. He has come back down here because he intends to teach John Stewart a lesson. He has brought with him 2 other lanterns of this new corps. And we learn as they have conversation that these new Green Lanterns, they come from some kind of royalty in the universe. If nothing else, they come from money. They come from a lot of money. Some of them even meant to rule homeworlds one day. And so these guys are out here doing all of this to try and prove something. Kind of checking the box on civil service, if you will. They have come here because they found something that was teeming with hard light energy. They assumed that this was John Stewart's. They say that all of the rings in the quarantine zone are accounted for. They believe that John Stewart still has a ring, that he was simply lying, and that this wreckage is going to prove it. As they look around the wreckage, what they find is an individual that appears to be hunched over, seeing humans as lesser life forms. This blonde woman says that she smells little lanterns, having the stink of Oa all about them. We see the Radiant Dead lash out, attacking each of the lanterns very quickly and overcoming them. This Dark Lantern, because that's what we're going to call them for right now. We will call them Dark Lanterns because we don't actually know much about them. We know that these aren't Black Lanterns or anything of that nature. We just know that these are a type of undead, hive mind-like lanterns. And hearing the name John Stewart, the Radiant Dead are now going after him. They plan to punish the Guardian and the Builder, known as John Stewart. This is what takes us to Steelworks Tower in Metropolis. John Stewart is here because he has been offered a job. John Irons is offering him a position at Steelworks Tower. As they begin to walk around and look at everything this place has to offer, they go into the workshop, and what is here is what they call the Sky Rails. This is just a concept so far, but it is a zero-carbon monorail. It runs 30 meters above the street. They are powering this using what is called Genesis. Now, for those that have been keeping up with the Superman comics, you know that Genesis comes from the homeworld that is Warworld, and Steelworks has been working on the applications of using Genesis for good. As they begin to investigate this, we have John Stewart who begins to really dissect this whole monorail situation, talking about how friction is still very much a problem. He goes into very creative ways on how they might handle this situation. And John Irons must admit, for an architect, he talks a lot like an engineer. John Irons has heard everything that he needs to hear, and he says that you need to come work for us immediately. And so as Stewart and his mother, they take off. They head back home. They talk about possibly moving here to Metropolis. After seeing Metropolis after all of this years, John Stewart's mother is absolutely amazed at how beautiful this city has become since Superman's arrival. But while they have these conversations, debating on whether they're gonna move or John Stewart's mother is going to stay where she is and let John go out and get this job, do better in life, so on and so forth, that is when the train is attacked. They are attacked by the Radiant Dead. As they begin attacking, John Stewart does everything he can to protect his mother. As these individuals tear apart this train, He refuses to let any of them hurt his mother. We see him power up. He begins to fight back. He takes this fight up into the air, away from the train. As he beats down most of these individuals, there is still one left standing, and it begins to introduce itself, saying that it is grateful for their first meeting. So it appears it has all the memories of when Jon Stewart and this lantern had fought prior to being taken over by the Radiant Dead. But it is now under the command of its mistress. The mortals have named her the Revenant Queen, and she knows who Jon Stewart is. He possesses a weapon that she desires above all. He tells this dead lantern that I don't need a ring, but then it tells Jon Stewart, neither does the Revenant Queen. With this dead lantern manifesting some kind of weapon in his hand, he stabs Jon Stewart in the arm, and he says that it is done. In another life, Stewart was her greatest enemy, the living Watchfire, the one that kept the Radiant Dead at bay. But now that he has been stabbed, it appears he will become one of them, and every living thing will fall after Jon Stewart falls. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Definitely not a bad issue. It's exciting seeing all of this moving forward. We still don't really understand who this new individual is, the Revenant Queen. It's obviously some kind of lantern or maybe a play on lanterns. It's not fully understood at this point. I have said it before, I do feel like we are convoluting what the lantern core represents. You know, we got so many colors, and don't get me wrong, I love a lot of the colors. The lantern spectrum is super awesome. I don't feel like this is a necessity. This feels more like Black Lantern with extra steps. And who knows, maybe this will be revealed that this is in fact Black Lanterns. But as it stands, it doesn't appear to be that way. And that's why I begin to refer to them as simply Dark Lanterns, because we don't really understand much about her or her hive mind. I will say that this fight was a little bit disappointing. You know, Jon Stewart is supposed to be just stupid powerful, absorbing the storm that he did, touching the source like he did, restarting the freaking Green Lantern Corps just by willpower. There is no need for a central battery any longer, which also makes us a little confusing on how the United Planets was able to take over the Corps. There's a lot of inconsistencies with what is going on in this comic and what happened in the last story arc of Green Lantern with Jon Stewart. But the Jon Stewart that we had last seen off that absorbed that storm, that had talked to the source, he was stupid overpowered. And while he decided not to go down the path that he was destined to go down, from what we understood, that power didn't go away. And so seeing him fighting these more or less minions of the Revenant Queen, him being able to take any damage in this situation seems a little bit silly, but I guess it's necessary to move the plot forward. For all we know, in the next issue, he will be able to purge himself of whatever corruption is in his skin. I mean, that seems like the obvious direction that they would go with it, considering his absolutely ridiculous power set now. It also appears that all of the other Green Lanterns have had their rings taken, except for Hal Jordan, which I kinda like the concept. Earth Zero has had a lot of lanterns, or should I say Sector 2814. And so it's nice that we're at least cutting down the ranks temporarily. I'm sure we'll see the other lanterns again because there's huge fan favorites out there, Kyle Rayner, etc, etc. But it's nice to see that Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, neither of them need a ring. It's even more impressive because Hal Jordan didn't touch the source. He didn't absorb some super powerful storm. Hal Jordan is just the Green Lantern. That is a title that you can never take from him. His willpower is so strong that he doesn't need a ring at all. But it will be interesting to see how things turn out for Jon Stewart and what direction all of this is headed. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything that has been going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything going on with Green Lantern Jon Stewart. If If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.